Hey, what's up guys? This is Phil again. Today it's one of the first videos that I'm posting that I'll be showing you guys how to make things. I'll be working on my miter station, which is I started about a week ago, and I haven't had the time to finish it. So I just decided that I'm gonna take the time now and make the drawers. I already started, so I'll show you guys what I've done. But I'll be showing you guys step by step on how I go about measuring my drawers, what type of slides I'll use. I just got this cool track from Krag Tools, and I'll be looking forward to show you guys. Thanks. This is my miter station right now. I started a couple weeks ago, and I just decided to take the time now and finish it. So I took some of the ideas off of different shops that I saw online, and some of the ideas I liked, some of the ideas I didn't like, so I decided to modify it a little bit and make it my own version. So my version is, I decided to recess the saw down from the table, which is the surface of the table of the saw. It's flush with the side cabinets. So I just got home and I received this through the mail that I had ordered the other day. It's the track and stop system from Krag Tools, and I'll be installing that as well. That's one of the things that I was waiting for before I took this project on, and I'll be showing you guys step by step on how I'm gonna do it. The other thing that I have here, which is very cool, that I love this, it's the eye socket, which allows you to plug the tool and the vacuum in the same plug, which basically when you run the saw, it kicks the vacuum on, and it cleans the sawdust around the saw, and it has like a 5-second delay, so it always clean little more than necessary. I mean, in a woodworking shop, you can never be clean enough. You're always gonna have a lot of sawdust, so that's one of the things that I like it very much. The first thing that I'm going to be doing on my miter station is building the drawers. One important thing to know when you're making drawers is the very first step. It's what type of slides you're going to be using. So in my case, I'm using Accuride slides, which is ball bearing slides. And based on the tolerances and clearances that I need for this specific slide, I'll be showing you guys how I go about it, how I measure, what tolerances do I need, and so on and so forth. So now that I decided what type of slides I'm using, I'm just gonna measure my opening, width and height, and the depth I already know. My slides are 21 inches deep, so that's my drawer is gonna be 21 inches deep. So my opening right now, it's 38 inches wide. This ball bearing slide requires a 1-inch clearance. It's ½ an inch on either side. So I got a 38 inches wide opening. So my drawer, the outside of my drawer, it's gonna end up being 37 inches. this is such a shallow drawer, I just go ahead and glue all the dovetails. If it was a much bigger drawer, I wouldn't glue all of them. I mean, it's not necessary to glue all of them, because that's the whole point of the dovetail. That joint goes nice and tight and it holds it together. So after I glue all that, I start with my short side. I put the piece in, I put the other piece in, which is the front and the back. Then I go ahead and put my plywood. Again, all the pieces have been sanded, so it's going to be much easier for me later. You don't have to sand everything. I just find it's much easier if you sand all the pieces. So you don't have to deal with getting into the corners and all that stuff. That sanding, it's not the best thing in the world as it is. So once that you make it easier on yourself, you enjoy woodworking a lot more. So we got all the pieces set up, with the sides snapped in. Have all that placed. Now I go ahead and visually inspect the joint, which is good. I try to pin them as flush as I possibly can. So again, this saves me on the sanding later. Because I sand all the other pieces, all I will have to sand really is this joint. So if I make this joint, if I take my time and make this joint as good as possible, it will be very little to sand later on. Because those drawers are going to have a drawer front, I don't mind pinning them too much. But if I was doing a pull-out that you're going to see the front, I wouldn't pin them. I would just clamp them and let them dry and sand them later. So the last thing I do, I just check if it's square. When I check for square, I just go diagonal. So I'm reading 42 and a half and 42 and a half. So I know that the drawer, it's nice and square. If it's not nice and square, later on your slides are gonna be binding. It's gonna give you trouble setting that up. It's not gonna slide nice. So you better take your time and make that square from the beginning. Then it's gonna be easier. Oh, another thing that you can do, let me grab it here. If you have a framing square, that's one of the things that you can do. Instead of measuring diagonal, you just go in here, make sure that this is nice and square, checks for square, and it is square, so you can go like that as well. So in the beginning of the video, I talk about pad outs. Pad outs basically, it's when, because of the way that I configured my box, I got a lip on the inside here. So in order for the slides to work nice and to give me the least amount of work, now what I gotta do, it's basically, it's called pad out because you gotta pad that out. So I'm basically gonna put a scab of 1/2 inch plywood that it's gonna work perfectly. So I put a bit of glue in there just to make sure it's gonna be nice and strong. I place that in there, and that's going to make perfectly flush with the inside of the face frame. So once that you have those pad outs set in there, it's time to install the slides. What I do, I use a piece of 2x4 like this. I place it, either a 2x4 or a scab, depends on the height and on the measurement of your opening. In this case, I'm just going to use a piece of 2x4. It's nice and straight and flat and square. I put it under the slide just to give me a uniform height. I place the slide on top of it so I know that all the drawers are going to be, all the slides are going to be set at the same height from the bottom of the stretcher. And I just go ahead and mark here where that's going to go. So based on that mark, I know that all my side tracks for the slides are gotta be mounted right on that location there. Then I can just go with my crack tool again. I set my height there, which is gonna end up being 1 3/8. Now and I'll just mark it on the side of the drawer on both sides. Go ahead and put this in here. Make sure that that's nice and still parallel to my line here. Screw that on quick. I'm just gonna put 3 screws for now. Switch that around. Do the same thing on the other side. Make sure you're indexing from the bottom. Have that all screwed in place, I just go ahead and place the drawer in here. So this is how the drawers came out. There is 3 drawers per set of cabinet. They're full extension drawers, full extension slides, and I'll show you guys in the next video how I'll make the drawer fronts and what's gonna happen to the inside of those drawers.